Hello everybody, my name is Colin Powers and welcome to my video. Today we'll be breaking down how I made this photo manipulation. This is not a how to do every single specific step, but more of how I got to a specific effect in this artwork. So to create this photo manipulation, I actually used the Marvel Iron Man Hulkbuster armor and decided to manipulate that into creating this Batman Thrasher comic book design. And the first thing I did to actually create this Batman design is I desaturated it, darkened it up using levels and adjustment layers to give it that Dark Knight vibe. And then I actually went in and started adding elements from different Photoshop, kind of photo bashing in different elements from other Dark Knight series to kind of match that kind of charismatic classic Dark Knight, more rigid design work. As you can see here, I'm going over grabbing a helmet from the Batman v Superman movie, manipulating it to kind of create this custom helmet design to kind of fit the squeezing, pushing it to kind of, and warping it to kind of get this helmet that I was looking for. Now when I'm adding all these elements together, I'm not thinking about matching it perfectly yet. I'm just trying to make a nice silhouette, trying to get a nice design element down. As you can see, that helmet does not match the rest of the body. We'll get to that, and it's very easy to do. That's kind of the main component of actually trying to get these photo manipulations to look good. Once you get to a point where you're happy with the recomposition and happy with the elements that you have combined together, it is as simple as grabbing an adjustment hue saturation level and trying to get everything to have that same colorization. And sometimes that's easier or harder to do, but that is essentially one of the main components of getting a solid photo manipulation. In a lot of sense, that's I feel like half the work is matching that hue saturation to kind of get things to merge, feel like it's a single image. You can see right here I'm struggling with how to place some of these elements on here on the armor, trying to see how I want to manipulate. And that's one thing you learn if you try to do a lot of photo manipulations is it takes a lot of trial and error. It does not necessarily look good, and you will do stuff and redo stuff. As you can see watching throughout this video, is sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Those two ab pieces in the middle end up going away, and I end up trying to do something else because it just looks terrible. Looking right now, you can see I'm going through on the layer panel. It's adding hue and saturation and levels to kind of get the tone so everything kind of matches together. And this is the first step you can kind of see is like, oh, it's starting to look like a single piece. Not great. It doesn't look amazing. But it's now kind of trying to change. It's trying to become a single piece that you can use in your artwork. Lastly, to wrap up the armor design, I actually went back to the original Hulkbuster design and edited it further to try to kind of give it more uniqueness, try to give it its own vibe, just enough to kind of make it set apart from the original armor, going and manipulating each individual parts. Especially in the chest region, where I know I'll be placing a Batman logo later. I needed that to work specifically because that's something I needed to have in mind going into it. But that essentially wraps up the armor by itself. As you can see, it looks radically different by not doing too much to change the composition and silhouette to create this so-called bat armor. So the next part is actually adding it to a composition, and I simply created 11x17 300 dpi composition, and I found some photography that I really thought was very goth-y, had that kind of right backlit that I was looking for, that I knew was going to put the armor into. And the first thing I did is I did a photo raw filter over the background, so I lowered those blacks to make them much, much deeper. And you can see again, now that the armor is placed in there, I'm doing again a hue, saturation, I think levels adjustments to kind of make it blend in with the background again more. Also took the body, blackened it, blurred it to add a shadow. And on top of that, I added another levels adjustment to add more depth and shadow to match the environment, to make it kind of feel like it's one single piece. I tinted it blue to make it kind of match the lighting in there. So this is where you really start to see it really start to kind of pop and look really cool. And if you take one thing away from this video, this I found is one of the coolest way to make it look, some of your lighting look quite epic. And that is a hue saturation adjustment level, and placing it in the direction of where lighting comes from, upping the lighting on it, and then changing it to the pin light color of the lights coming through, and then brushing it onto the silhouette of your character to make it blend in and have this epic glow effect around him that frankly I think I probably overused a little bit too much. But then on top of that, I actually went in with a exposure to kind of give it a better rim light from the background, and this is backlit, so I have to kind of keep in mind where that lighting is coming from. But it's a very simple way to kind of add some very movie poster video game effect type of lighting to just really show off a different mood on your character as you add it into the composition. So this again is another area where I had tried and failed. So you're actually seeing the second time I attempted to do this Batman logo on his chest, because sometimes you need to redo things. So when I created this, it is very pretty simple. Changed it to white, duplicated that letter, did a Gaussian blur over that to create a glow. Then on that bottom layer, I created an inner shadow to make it look like it is beveled into the chest. You can see right there. Then I changed it to a slightly blue color to match the rest of the lighting. I went in and attempted here to do next a kind of a glow effect. It didn't really play out. I ended up placing it behind him and ended up using that to kind of strengthen the glow, the rim glow, to make it look the overall architecture brighter. But after that, it was just kind of some cleanup work. I went into the background and cleaned up some of the characters in the back. I added a field blur to kind of focus it more on the Batman Mech. And lastly, I played around with some special effects. Going in here, you can see I'm playing around with some lens flare. It is super easy to go over the top with these lens flares. So if you end up trying to add these to your artwork, try to be conservative with it. You can kind of see it, like I went too much, backed off a little bit, and ended up going in and really dialing back some of it, because it can look cheesy very quickly if you add too much into there. But with Flaterite, it can also kind of look photographically pretty cool. But that pretty much wraps it up. So if you have any questions, place them down in the comments. I'll see if I can answer them. Maybe I'll do something specifically, and if I receive multiple questions, I might do a video on it. But if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I will continue to do more photo manipulations and breakdowns, perhaps tutorials in the future. But until then, I'll see you next time. Thanks.